Hello and welcome to the stream. With me today I have the lovely Moth Mana, who I believe her camera is slowly deciding to connect. There she is. Hello. Welcome to the pre-Halloween stream. If this is your first time on a Fight the Tide stream, Fight the Tide is a community-run channel where we host the Onslaught Tournament Series, the annual Vermintide Festival, and other smaller special occasion events like this one. I am Xan, I am a Reddit moderator and tourney organizer, and with me I have... I had you muted, Moth. I'm so sorry. Do it again. Do it again. You're not muted now. You're good. You're good.
Okay, so you're in. Gotcha.
It's not a Vermintide stream without tech issues.
Classic. I'm Moth. I'm a cosplayer, fan artist, fanfic author, content creator, and Xan's sidekick.
You are owning the fanfic author. I appreciate this. I appreciate this. So today we've got a really fun stream for you all, but before that I have some exciting but bittersweet news. This will be my last time hosting a Fight the Time stream. Liathon is spoiling it. So for those who haven't read the Reddit announcement, I have been picked up by Fat Shark to be a community manager alongside Hedge. So I will still be around, but in order to avoid conflict of interest, I have passed over Fight the Tide organization to Miss Moth and Mr. Ishka. And the Onslaught Tournament Series will continue to be run by staff. I will just be in the background supporting Fat Shark's side. So I will be in the chat for future streams, but I will not be on camera. So I will be in the Shark Tank starting November 1st. So, with us today, we have some special guests, which we're going to interview in a moment. So, what our schedule of events today is we will be interviewing both Moth, Miternaki, and Rakemake Cosplay. Moth is a very accomplished cosplayer herself, and Miternaki and Rakemake were the official Vermintide 1 cosplayers of the launch party as commissioned by Fat Shark. We will be watching Moth create some amazing bark armor. And then we will be talking to Yanfan about the making of Pus Fume. And he will show us a little bit of something new that he's created that hasn't been released yet. So that's really exciting. And then we will also review the Umgak cosplay contest entries from the Reddit. So, without further ado, I am going to get these cosplayers in there and we are going to get started. Hello.
Hello. Hey.
Hi. Oh, there is some cosplay. How are you today? You guys are in Sweden.
Hi. There is some cosplay. How are you today? You guys are in Sweden. Hi. There is
Well,
some
wait.
cosplay.
So what, like?
How are you today? You guys are in Sweden.
Well, wait. So what, like?
There's no sound. What?
Can you all hear us?
No. Instead, you can just.
About now?
Can you hear us?
That was.
Yay!
Yeah,
No.
there we go. There we go. Hi, how are you guys today?
We're great. How are you?
Good. Alright, so I'm Exan, and the lovely woman who is below me in the Discord chat is Miss Moth. And we are going to be interviewing you guys about some cosplay. So,
Yay!
to start off, for those who might not know who you are, or just putting a face or half face in Carillian's case over here to the name, could you briefly introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what cosplays you're known for?
You start.
Okay, so my name is Eric. I go by the name of Rake Makes on most social medias, and I'm part of the Mitter Makes cosplay duo. And we've been cosplaying for over a decade.
Way long.
Way too long. Too long that it's allowed. And well, we're cosplays we're famous for, I suppose. These, since we work for Vermintide.
I guess. It's outside of this. I like to do a lot of Overwatch cosplay. I love to cosplay Moira. And at the moment, we're super into Monster Hunter. So
Yes.
maybe
And
that.
Resident Evil.
And Resident Evil. So maybe that in the future.
I think that's it.
Me next?
I believe
Or-
that's your turn, Moth.
Okay. Hey, I'm Moth. I also am really into Monster Hunter. I have
Yay!
two Monster Hunter armors in my house right now that I've built. I also do Carillion cosplay. I've done props for the previous Halloween contests. I made a Skaven Grimoire that got sent to the winner last year. Yeah, and I also like Overwatch cosplay. I mostly do video games, so I think that's where the overlap is happening. But yeah.
Wait, so how did you guys get started with Vermintide, and why did you decide to cosplay it?
Well, we actually were contacted by Fat Shark before the game was released, and since we live in Sweden and there aren't that many Swedish cosplayers. No,
few.
there's a few.
It's a couple.
But anyway, the Fat Shark knew a little about the cosplay community, and we were contacted and asked if we wanted to make 2 characters for the release party, and then for some promotional artwork during the year. And since the game wasn't released yet, we were sent like super secret artwork pictures.
We also got some like reference picture with Carillion and Saltspire, like alpha stage with
Yeah.
the clothes just clipping through the body.
And then we were asked to choose just based on those photos. And I was choosing between Carillion and Sienna, but I still don't know how to set fire to my hair. I'm working on it. So I choose Carillion.
And I choose Saltspire because I didn't want to make a full armor.
Yeah.
And I'm too tall to be a dwarf.
Yeah.
So I think that's how we got into Vermintide, and then we played it like a drug, basically.
Yeah, and then we convinced our friends to play, and our friend Fabian, you might have seen him at the Reddit as the Marcus cosplayer. We convinced him to get into Vermintide, and then he made the costume, and
Yeah.
we convinced some other friends to join, and then we had a cosplay group, and
Yeah, I started playing Vermintide because I have a lifelong friend who's really into Warhammer and has tried for the better part of a decade to get me into it. So he's like, try out this game. If you like Left 4 Dead, you'll love it. And then so I started playing it, and then I really like fell in love with the characters. And the way the voice actors sort of brought them to life, and I was like, wow, there's no cosplayers for this, really. There's a handful out there. So I was like, why not? We'll give it a shot. And then I started doing community stuff because Exan is nice enough to invite me to do things. and now I'm here.
So, what is the process like when creating a cosplay? Are there specific techniques or materials or creative processes?
Cry a lot.
That's the first one. Look at reference photos and go like, that's not supposed to go there.
Moth
doesn't
is
work.
making this face like she has no idea the question she just asked.
I remember one specific thing we were looking at when we were going to make Carillion, and it's like she has in the first game she has like a corset made of vines or bark. And when we met the designer who made it, and he was so proud because he said, "Yeah, I really wanted to make it like realistic, like armor would be in real life." We just looked at him and like,
There's no zipper.
"There's no seam. You can't get it open. No seam."
But I think like for the process, just starting with choosing a character you really like, because you will spend a lot of time and money doing the costume and just gather reference photos and just get going. For me, it really helps because we have a lot of friends who we cosplay together with, and it's a lot of fun to do group cosplays and projects together. So that really motivates me.
And also, like practically, the first steps are like you said, reference photos, and then you do sketch it a bit so you can like deconstruct the costume as you're looking at what layers there are and what you can use for this and that, and then make some mock-ups either from trash or fabric. And then you start, I suppose.
Yeah, I cannot stress enough the importance of mock-ups and doing something in cheap, crappy materials first before you invest everything and lose it all. But yeah, I mean, I try to find projects that are interesting to me, or like they present an interesting challenge. Like with my Monster Hunter stuff, I was interested in the Puke armor and how it like color shifts like a hummingbird. So I was like, okay, well, how do I make for a color shift in real life? And then that's like what keeps my attention on the project, is like trying to solve the problem. But I make a lot of drawings. I make a lot of measurements. I pattern everything myself, so I try to save patterns as I draft them so that I can pull them out of a drawer and reuse them for other stuff. But yeah, it's just like a lot of building off of what I've done before and trying new stuff out.
How far in advance do you begin constructing a costume for a particular event? How long does something take? Oh no, I might have stepped in it here.
You're supposed to start several months in advance and then work in advance, but usually the process is you start several months in advance, do nothing, and then panic crunch for the last few
No,
weeks.
you hype everyone up for doing it, and you're like, I'm gonna do it, I'm working on it, and today I got this reference photo, and then like after a lot of months of nothing, you're like, oh, I actually need to make a costume too.
Yeah. It's not a real costume if you don't finish the costume on the day of the convention. It's real costume.
No, but seriously, I think at least how long do we spend? I think
I mean, if we crunch and like panic make something, you can do it like in a month.
don't do that.
No,
No.
but usually like 3 months at least.
The pandemic has been great because we've been able to do costumes and then not use them. So they've been finished for a while, just waiting to be taken to a con. We do not condone more pandemics, please, but still.
But in general, I think like a decent costume is at least 100 hours of work.
I can't
So-
measure in hours.
Yeah, but then you have to work after actual work and weekends. So
Yeah.
start in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am in the same camp where I start a thing ahead of time, and like it helps if my friends are working on something from the same series, because then we're working on it together. But then like life happens, and then you go a couple weeks where you just can't work on it because like I have a full-time job and a bunch of other hobbies and stuff to do. So it's like, okay, well, it's been 2 months and I haven't worked on it. So it's like Carillion was like 3 weeks of work, but spread out over like 3 months because of just only being able to work on it sporadically. But for me, it's like sometimes I'll plan something like really far in advance or gradually like add on to it over time. Or sometimes I'll just be like the weekend before con, like, oh, I should just join this group that my friends are doing, and then crunch really hard and regret my life choices in the middle of the night before.
When I first invited Moth to go co-hostess stream with me. I was like, "What about this day?" And she's like, "Sorry, con crunching, can't do it."
Yep.
That's true.
And then your friends ask like, "Do you want to be in this group?" But you'll only have like 2 weeks, and it's like, "Okay, sure, I can make that, no problem. I would like to be in a group," and then it doesn't work out so. But it's okay because you can hide among your friends.
Do you ever have those instances, like I was sewing a corset when I was learning how to sew, which I don't recommend learning to sew a corset if you've never sewed before, but do you ever have where you're like, you wake up, it's the middle of the night, and you're like, oh my god, I could have done it this way, and you just get up and you deconstruct everything and start over?
Got it.
And let me tell you, the notes app on my phone is full of incomprehensible garbage from doing exactly that.
And then you wake up in the middle of the night like, I should do this, and then you fall asleep again, and then you're like, I got such a good idea last night, but I can't remember anything of what the idea was.
And your coworker's like, why do you look so tired?
Because I was cosplaying in my sleep.
So, are there any notable moments from your Vermintide cosplay adventures? I know Moth posted a very fun shoot to the Reddit, and it caused just uproar. But
Do you have? I think I sent you that picture. Do you have it?
you
handy?
did not send it to me, but I could probably pull it up. So the
If you-
yeah, you could just give the context. I don't want Twitch to be like.
Oh, the context is just that my friends know that I like Vermintide, and it's a game that none of them know anything about because it's not a very big community, but they're really supportive of like my community involvement and stuff. So my friend Tart Cosplay made me a pair of booty shorts that were customized and themed around Vermintide, and I guess everybody on the Reddit thought they were really funny.
I think one good memory we had Fabian, our friend who did Kruber. He was going to compete in the Nordic cosplay championships, but he had no idea what to do. He was like, I don't know what to do. And also he is an actual blacksmith, so he was like, I think I'm gonna do Dr. Doom, but don't really like him. And then we were at DreamHack working for Fat Shark to promote Vermintide. And we were like, have you tried Vermintide? It's kind of like the things you like to do, and it's a cool game. You can try it over there. And then he went over there like, oh, it's pretty much fun. And he stood there for like 3 hours playing Vermintide. Then he just turned around to us and said, I'm gonna do Marcus. I'm gonna make Marcus.
He completed that in after only 3 hours of playing Vermintide, and it's just like, I'm gonna make a full armor set.
Yep,
Yeah.
pretty
Wow.
much. And he was not contacting. We weren't able to contact him while he was playing. We were like, how are you doing, Fabian? He's like,
But he's like a professional armor smith. So like, he has like talking hammer and tongs, all that stuff. So he made Kruber like full metal because he was so excited because it was an actual like realistic armor, not some fantasy bullshit.
I think my favorite memory was from the release party when I got to talk to the person who designed Carillion, and it was so much fun because he was so happy. Everyone was super happy at the release party, and just to talk about the designs, and I just think the general feeling of the release party was so great because it was just pure happiness, and I don't know, I really enjoyed the release party.
I mean, we get excited when you finish a costume. These were like at least like 30 people who finished the game, and everyone was so happy for it released and it went well.
Yeah.
That's good. Also, he reacted to, you have the dagger over there? When the designer reacted to seeing the dagger in real life, he was like, oh my god, it's so cool!
I had a moment at Dragon Con this past summer where a group of like 5 or 6 guys stopped me while I was walking through one of the hotels and were like, hey, are you Mothmana on Instagram? And I was like, yeah, I was wearing Carillion at the time, and they were like, dude, you're the reason that we all started, like, we all play Vermintide now, because we watched you, like, build this costume on Instagram, and now we love it too, and I'm just like, yeah! Anytime I find someone who even plays this game, or, like, recognizes, like, what the costume is, I get so excited, so it was really fun.
Yeah, it's funny because they're so, I mean, not obscure, but still, when someone actually recognizes it, that's so much fun. We worked at EGX, I think, in London. We were invited to work because I think it was one of the first times that you could actually play demos. And by then, we had actually played the game, and it was so much fun to be in costume and like. We walked around, people playing, and gave them tips. And like, no, you can't do that. You shouldn't use those weapons because those are the bad weapons. And just seeing people's reactions was a lot of fun.
I also like seeing. We saw like 3 people who worked at Fat Shark when we had Carillion, Kruber, Saltspire, and Sienna as a group, and then they saw all 4 of us in costume, and they were like, "It's so cool to see the ones who made the game were so excited." And we were like, "That's really fun." Also, they saw this. The fish. Everyone loves the fish. It's a trinket. It's the best trinket.
Are there any particular characters you feel drawn to, and why?
Is it Carillion? Is it Carillion?
Well, Carillion is baby, but she's not the baby. The baby is Sienna. I'm sorry.
I'm not offended by that.
I love her so much. And when I actually started playing the game, I was like, oh god, why didn't I do that costume? So I made that costume as well, because I had to. I love her. I love how everything about her, and especially something that made me fall even more in love with her was her drunken lines. When she was drunk on Sienna, I cried so much, and I can't explain. I love her so much. I love Carillion too, but not as much.
I managed to get the voice actress for Sienna to make her a happy birthday greeting. What's her name again?
Bethan. Yeah.
Bethany, yeah.
She
was like so helpful. It's like, oh my god, of course I will. I'm gonna go to the studio. Please, you don't have patience. And I was like, oh really? She's gonna do it.
It was the best birthday ever.
And I like Saltspire.
interviewed her. She was a sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's amazing. And I like Saltspire because yeah.
I mean, I like Carillion, obviously. Exant knows this. Everybody knows this. It's not really a secret. But I think recently, like, as far as, like, interest in their arc goes, I've really become very, very fond of Saltspire over the years. And, like, the sort of development that he undergoes as a character and, like, his trial of, like, testing his faith and, like, trying to figure out what's right and wrong, like, in his view of the world is, like, super compelling to me. And his voice acting is just, like, unparalleled. So.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember his name, the voice actor. Whenever I try to mimic his voice, I always step into, like, Squidward territory. But he can go, like, low with just slightly nasally, and it's so good. I love Saltspire.
We can tell a secret. It's a secret, but no one's here, so it's okay. When we were at NACON and we were talking to some of the Fat Shark guys, and I was cosplaying Sienna and you were Saltspire, and we were like, you gotta tell us they're dating, right? We have all heard the voice lines, like they have to be dating.
We asked about the voice, and I was like, it is not a shame to admit that you love me, and Saltspire goes, nah, nah, nah.
Yeah.
So we asked about that.
Asked them, and they were like, shh, it's our secret.
And we were like,
so now it's your secret too. Don't tell anyone.
Oh, if you could cosplay any character without worrying about time or skill level or materials, who would it be and why? It doesn't have to be Vermintide.
Well, I have a dream cosplay that I attempted in 1 month and failed miserably, and that's Bale from Diablo. I made a full rig with like mechanical legs and everything in a month, and nothing was finished, and I fell and I hurt myself and everything. But one day I'm gonna do that one again, properly.
I wanna do Unchained Sienna with fire and stuff, and if I can't do that, then I'll just do more Moira cosplay.
If you do Unchained, I'm gonna do Salad.
Yeah.
With Pigmar.
Some Monster Hunter costumes that I think the barrier isn't like that it's intimidating, it's just that it would cost a lot of money. But as far as Warhammer related things, I think it would be amazing to do like Ikit Claw or some such other thing where like my body was completely obscured and like you don't know, like my face is covered and everything. It's just like a rat walking around with horrible warp contraptions.
I would love to do something like that too. Like a Skaven or like a group of Skaven guards would be so cool. Like
Yeah,
Stormburn.
or like a group of like Skaven specials or something.
Yeah, it would be
They
so
all have
cool.
such cool
Really
designs.
want-
Oh,
Yeah.
really want the costume, so
I
we'd
wanna
really like
do,
to
I
do that.
wanna do like a Globadier. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
I'm game. I can do a Packmaster.
And finally, what advice do you have for those just starting out?
Cosplay is a lot of fun, but you should do the character you really want to do because you'll be spending so much time and money and blood and sweat and tears. So it really should be something you really want to make because otherwise it might just not be worth all the time. So just do whatever you want to do. If you have friends who like to join, that's even better. And never be afraid to ask. Like, ask questions, look up on YouTube. There's so much to choose from. When we were young, in our youth, there was nothing. Yeah, so use it. Like, ask questions, and because the cosplay community generally is pretty nice.
Also, you don't have to like start with making a humongous costume. You can like make a closet cosplay, or you can buy costume parts, and then you can like just dip your foot in, see how it feels, take it from there.
Yeah.
Also, like you don't have to have a lot of cosplay friends. You can like ask if there's like anyone want to do a group of this. Hello, and then usually there are someone who has the same interest.
Yeah, and you don't even have to commit to like making a full costume. Just you buy it and then make like one prop from it and see if you enjoy it. And then you'll learn something, and then you can do a little bit more the next time. But what they said is really important. No one else can really pick your I see people all the time being like, what character should I cosplay? And the answer is always the same: a character whose design you like from a series that you like and care enough about to, you know, focus your time and energy on. But you can learn anything on YouTube. Back in 2007, when I was first like trying to learn cosplay, there was nothing online. There was like 2 armor tutorials, maybe. I can picture the ones in my mind right now. There were like 3 websites to buy cosplay from. So yeah, you can learn how to do anything. And if you don't know how to do something and no one else has done it, then just try it until it works, and then you can be the one who teaches everybody how to do it.
Yeah, it's like don't invent the wheel twice because someone already did it probably.
Oh yeah.
And you don't have to use all these expensive materials or techniques. Like, it doesn't really matter. You can make cosplay out of anything.
I mean, if it exists, someone has made cosplay out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see in the video that Xan's gonna show everyone, like, Cerulean's made out of hot glue. I went to the dollar store and loaded up, and that's it. One of the cheapest costumes I've ever made.
I think the twigs that I made, it was made, what's it called in English?
It's like not caulking, but
It's like
like
foam
foam
tubes.
that you put like under windows and
Yeah.
doors.
Like weather sealant? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like
Yeah,
that.
and then we burned it to get a bit of texture, and then
Yeah.
I mean it was
It was about 130 meters that we cut in half. So it's almost like 250 meters.
and then a lot of hot glue.
Yeah. It's
All
mostly
right, so with that, we are going to watch Mothsmana's tutorial on how to make Cerulean's bark armor, and then we will be back to see some of the cosplay contest entries. Alrighty, so let us roll into that.
Let's make a video. Good afternoon, Lumberfoots and Meeflies. Recently, I've been doing costumes from big name popular franchises, and I thought, you know what would be a neat change of pace if I walked a convention floor and absolutely freaking nobody recognized what character I was cosplaying. Unfortunately, I only really got to wear Cerulean at C2E2 because due to a number of extenuating circumstances of which I am sure we are all aware. I don't know when my next con is gonna be. Techo is postponed. ASEN is just canceled. Hopefully DragonCon is still happening. We'll see. Now Vermintide is a Warhammer game that I love, but with a truly tragic lack of fan content. Fan art is scarce. I've only seen a couple of cosplays from it, which are all very good. If you're a Vermintide cosplayer, I guarantee you I've seen your cosplay. You're doing amazing. I love you, thank you for your service. There are literally only like 10 Vermintide fanfictions on AO3, and one of them may or may not be mine. Wait. Anyway. Now the fan content that does exist is wonderful, and I'm very thankful for it. Except for the freak rat pornography you degenerates have been drawing of my girl. Turn on your location. I just want to talk. But it is not enough, and I am starving over here, you guys. Anyway, the point is, sometimes you have to be the fan content you want to see in the world, so here I am. Is it weird to cosplay your own waifu? Asking for a friend. So if you would like to make your own extremely wood elfy tree bark armor, or you're just curious to see how I did mine, let's go. I'll usually start by making a drawing just to cement the image of the thing in my mind, but something extra I find helpful for armor or costumes with a lot of pieces is to do the sketch in a program with a layers function like Clip Studio or Photoshop, so I can view each layer of the costume separately but on the same drawing. This cosplay is not particularly complicated, but if you're attempting something with an absurd amount of detail, Monster Hunter! This is a great way to break it down into less overwhelming chunks so you can figure out where to start. Now fetch your pattern making supplies. Measure out approximately how wide you want the various segments to be. Write these measurements on the nearest available blank surface for your own reference. Next, draw a paper template for the individual pieces. Since her armor is made of such organic shapes, they're fairly forgiving of a lack of precision. You can draw them somewhat haphazardly, and it's okay if they're not completely straight. Just so the dimensions are approximately to scale and the pieces fall where we want them to. Once you've checked your work against your body, it's time to cut out your EVA foam. Trace your templates onto the foam and cut them out with a utility or hobby knife that is much sharper than the one you see me using here. We're going to move to the Dremel portion of this process, but let me preface it by saying, if you are watching this at a time when personal protective equipment is still a scarce commodity and you do not already have a particulate filter mask, just skip this step, it's really not that important. We're going to begin by creating some basic bark striations on the surface of our armor pieces. If freehanding a rotary tool scares you, you can draw out the lines with a marker first. Carve the bark grain into the foam and smooth out the edges. Use a heat gun to smooth out the surface and eliminate any leftover Dremel fuzzies. Now this key technique is one recommended to me by my friend Tart Cosplay, who I can only describe as some kind of hot glue sorcerer. Working a little at a time, draw blobby lines of hot glue down each piece using the grain lines we already drew as a loose guideline. Then take a piece of crumpled up nonstick parchment paper and lay it down on top of the still squishy hot glue. Set it aside and work on a different piece until that one cools. After a few minutes, peel off the paper and marvel at the crunchy bark texture you have just created. Repeat this until it looks like all of your pieces are plagued with some sort of grotesque skin condition. Take a moment to reward yourself by enjoying the sensory experience of pulling off all the hot glue strings you now have because you used cheap bargain bin glue sticks for this task. Hot glue is generally too slippery for good paint adhesion, so I'm priming everything with a coat of black gesso so I have a uniform dark base to work with. After allowing the gesso layer to dry, begin painting by building up color in several layers. First apply an even coat of your darkest brown, or whatever you decide you want your base neutral to be. Warhammer mini painters, the color I'm using here is a cheap raw umber acrylic that is a dead ringer for Citadel Dryad bark, if that helps. Once that dries, take your next color and, with slightly less paint on the brush, brush it over the texture without bothering to work it into the deeper crevices. Essentially, we're highlighting the raised parts of the bark by dry brushing lightly over them. Imagine you're the crappy toothbrush in an infomercial for fancy toothbrushes. You skim the surfaces while not reaching any of the plaque, or dark paint in the nooks and crannies. I used 4 or 5 different colors for a natural-ish variation, but user discretion based on your reference. I can't tell you how to live your life, but I will suggest you vary not only the value of your colors, but also the hue for a more dimensional paint job. Once your browns are done, begin creating a moss effect by dry brushing green paint where necessary. Doing this first will create a more natural look than just slapping on some fake moss directly. Feel free to spend an hour tumbling down a Wikipedia hole learning about the incredible diversity of mosses, lichens, and algae if you're like me and that sort of thing excites you. Unless of course you have a deadline to meet, in which case make it 2 hours. Once again, try not only to vary the value of the green, but the hue as well. Switching gears, I now need to assemble the only part made of 2 pieces stuck together. If you recall, I cut the largest pieces too, which join at a curve in the center, which helps it maintain shape and contour more closely over my hip. I'm just using contact cement for this, and the great thing about this bark is that you don't need to worry if the seam is visible since the entire thing is just cracks and divots. Now use a heat gun to mold the pieces into a curve so they fit against your body. The hot glue adds a stiffness to the foam that actually helps it keep its shape pretty well. Corellion's armor plates appear to be threaded together with some sort of twine, so I'll do the same with some random beige cording I had. Something strange but mostly beneficial that happens to me is that all of my colleagues and acquaintances know me as the one who makes costumes. So anytime somebody's grandma dies or moves to an assisted living facility, they end up giving me all of her sewing materials and craft supplies. That's why half of my tools are from the 50s and 60s, and also why I usually just happen to have the perfect niche item for a job, like this giant rug needle that is perfect for threading cord through armor. You can see I'm tying a loop at certain junctures. This will be where we thread the stretchy cord that ties around the leg. After reinforcing the knots with more hot glue since, we might as well at this point, I'm taking a plastic buckle attached to some nylon webbing and gluing it down to the inside. This will be what does most of the legwork of holding the armor to my body. I have also attached the other half of the buckle to a piece of webbing with the other end sewn into a loop. This threads onto my belt to hold the whole thing up. I'm using some stretchy cording for the parts that tie around my leg. When I'm ready to wear it, I can just tie a bow and scoot the knot back until it's hidden underneath the armor. This way I can also easily extricate myself from the costume later without having to perform a magic show escape routine. Once all of your laces are fitted, the last step is adding moss. You can buy preserved reindeer moss at your local craft store once going to the craft store is a socially acceptable activity again. Shred up the different colors into smaller pieces for some variety and glue them to the mossy parts. I recommend making at least one project with this stuff so you can enjoy the bonus smells it comes with. Seriously, it might just be me, but it smells so good I want my whole body to smell like this at all times. If you know of a moss-scented perfume, please tell me in the comments. And with that, your bark armor is complete. You're ready to get out there, murder some Packsworn, and deal an alarming amount of friendly fire damage. Hopefully you look, feel, and smell great. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments.
Alrighty, so we are back, and I have lost my scenes. There we go. So, are you familiar with what the Umgat cosplay contest is? Like, is this your first go around with what it is? Like, we're back on screen. Alright, so so what this contest was on the Reddit, we wanted people to get involved in some fun cosplay without spending a ton of money on it, so we challenged Redditors to make something Vermintide inspired using things they found in our household, and the more creative the better. So when judging these, it should be how hard they make you laugh, how creative and original they are with their household objects, and is what they've created recognizable. So this is some of the past 2 years' entries that... Am I muted? Oh. Oh, okay, there we go. Anyway, but yeah, some of these are from two-ish years ago. The Burble Spew that just showed up actually shoutcast our tournaments, and he actually won that one, and they like finger painted all over him and stuff like that. But for this year, we have some new entries, starting with this one. Can you tell who this is?
Oh my god, I love
Bumblebee. Is it a colander on his face?
Yeah, are those 3 spatulas?
let me see.
Oh.
Butter knives, maybe?
Oh my god, yes. Yes.
And I think the Reddit comments were saying the book is like Naruto manga or something like that.
Yes.
I can see the orange if you squint.
Canon, yes.
So basically all Blightstormers are like, yeah, you have anime.
Shut up.
I can see that. I can see that.
Alrighty.
I love it.
So I am. Okay, here we go. So this is. Can you tell who this is?
Aww.
Sad.
The aluminum foil shield was really like the selling point here for me.
I love the rubber mallet.
Oh, I love this.
I like the little shield.
Yes.
I know exactly which shield illusion that is.
Yeah. Oh, and like the little belt and stuff that he's got too.
Yeah.
His beard is glorious.
I love the beard.
Oh yeah.
Our next entry. This actually came with a video. Oh, I need to grab the video
Oh,
really
boy.
quickly. Yeah. Which is. Let's see where it went. Oh, come on. Where is it? Did I close it? Did I close the video? No. Wow. Aha! Found it. And Barton is savagely pounced by a sneaky Raki.
Oh
Yes.
no! Poor baby.
The cat's face is just like, why is this happening to me?
It's the same face I do every time that happens to me, so I told them. Like, oh my god, can we not?
Where did it come from? Why is this happening
What is
to
this
me? Where's
mass
my
of like
tea?
ramen noodles that's in the front of the cat for the beard? Like what is that?
I'm surprised they managed to get like the shark hat and the beard on the
Yeah.
cat.
Yeah.
And the cat
Yeah.
seems to be okay with it.
Oh,
Excellent.
that's the best cat.
Right. And the next one we have is this lovely lady.
Oh.
Aww. Oh my god, the leaves. I love it.
I know which cosmetic that's supposed to be.
That's the shade cosmetic. No, that actually
No.
it's the one where she has like the
Is that actual
it's
bark?
like green, I think. I don't know the name.
Yeah, there's one with like actual like twigs around.
Yeah, it's the one where it's
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
green face mask with like some patterns on it.
10 points for accuracy by using real leaves. I applaud. That is some great choices, and is that real bark as well?
I think
It
it's
looks
real
like
bark
it.
that's ripped straight from a tree.
Well,
Lumber out of
It's
10.
very authentic.
Yes. Queen Corellian.
Yes.
I appreciate the very graceful pose that Korea
Yeah.
has been placed in. Very elvish, very.
Yes. And the bows.
I can see this being a real skin. Yeah.
Can't you tell?
Yes.
And that's someone said that's actually a good bow. I was gonna say I think the bow is actually made by hand, like
That's cool.
Locally sourced. I love it.
Good.
Yes.
Think about the environment.
Cool.
Good.
Cosplay green, everyone.
Alrighty. Oh, this person is actually an artist in the community, and they made. I believe this is a Grail Knight.
Of course.
I can't with the stuff they like the webkins on the head. Is that a casserole dish lid?
The potato masher.
Yes. Can we have this, please? I need this in game.
Is that like a lemon squeezer?
It's one that's
garlic
potato.
press?
Ah,
Oh
the mix-
yeah.
Is that like
Yeah.
What do you call it?
My grandma has one.
Yeah. My grandma also had one of those.
Oh my god, yes.
I've never used it because
Like a super shield makes all the sense because you could see and hide at the same time. Yeah.
that's true.
Yes.
Yes.
With you.
10.4 functionality.
Yes. And I love the spoons. It goes together with the theme, the lid, and the potato masher.
Mm-hmm.
We like it.
I like the spoons. Like.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's both functional and
Hey, Yarsla.
beautiful.
I love that there's so much content and so many designs in this franchise that lend themselves to putting a colander on your head and
Yeah.
calling it a day.
Well,
I mean, the thing is, like, you recognize exactly who they're cosplaying as.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I love the shoulders. So good.
Yeah,
all about
and they're like clearly facing up to the sky. Also,
I mean, I have to appreciate anyone who puts a colander and just takes a picture and wears it with pride. Like.
Yes.
we have to like start a timer and then like run back and
Take the photo. And that's dedication.
yeah.
Particularly since I think his face is in the colander, so yeah, maybe that's what
Yeah.
he had to do. Like, and this is my personal favorite, but
Oh, the legs! Is that Peppa Pig?
yeah. Apparently, I remember it said something like he decapitated the plush or something for this.
I mean, the legs.
and the health bar too. Like they
Yeah.
English.
I mean, you see what it is.
Peppa, I'm gonna smash you into the ground. It's feeling good, it is. For the Skaven.
Did he
I was
like
gonna moderate every pig, every rat is Peppa Pig.
did he decapitate the baby? Well, I guess he's like, yeah, he like removed like baby doll legs or something and put them down there.
This reminds me of the Storm Fiend from last year. Who had
Yeah.
I mean, the scale is pretty accurate with the legs and the arm.
Again, recycling. We like that.
It really gives it that sense of perspective.
Oh, but it's great. I mean,
If we just take it a little further and squint a little, it actually looks like a rectangle. Huh?
I mean, yeah, I don't even think I really have to squint.
I mean, like, if you squint, you only see the outline of the legs and the arms. Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. I'm loving it.
yes.
We have this lovely husband. The more I look at this, the more I see what he's used. Like the leg brace. It's
Oh my god, yes. And the
that's
potion. Yes.
It's even green.
Got some Mountain Dew.
Yeah. I think it's really good. I love it. And the scenery with
Yes.
the yeah, so good.
Mhm. The PJ pants.
Yeah. Well, and the hood and the mask, I think it's perfect.
And there was a debate on Reddit on. He had to confirm. Yes, it was Mountain Dew.
That's good. We like that.
It
Can we have
was
that
Mountain Dew,
confirmed?
yeah.
I hope that's what they taste like in game.
Yes.
That would make sense.
That's probably why Krillin hates them.
Cerulean hates Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
So those were all of our entries. So I'm going to leave you guys to kind of make a decision. I am going to get Yanfan in here, and we're going to talk about his making of Pusfume, which is the original character. Alrighty, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
I will see you very soon. Bye.
Don't really hold with swords these days, but I had a real beaut when I was younger. I wonder what happened to it. So, you give any thought to that little proposition I made?
Pusfume did. Yes, yes.
You don't say.
Pusfume will accept the deal. Work with man-things to gather clan tech. We'll track down Nest, find a spine mangler, and kill-slay him together, if such is your demand.
What do you reckon, Saltspire? You couldn't make it up.
No more interrogations now, yes? You let me go now? Pusfume have tools to work on. You let Pusfume go now. Yes?
No.
Now, just, we're sure this isn't some kind of horrible trap, yeah?
Any idiot knows that's a bad idea. Like goading a Rhinox, or trying to play dice with a goblin. As if I didn't have enough problems. Deary me.
Can't help but think there's something vile ahead. This is a grim business right enough.
It's all grim business these days. Let's not die here, okay? It's our only option, isn't it?
Well, we've come this far. What's the harm?
Don't tell Lona we were here. He'll just start talking about pumpkins again.
Prepare to suffer! It is time for holy vengeance! The glory is yours! The serpent is dead! No kid! Ready up, Jory. Let's give them a warm welcome.
Looks like a goblin from the size of it. Then again, they normally come with 2 legs.
While you were gone, Carillion, I always had a feeling you'd be back. Needed a change of scenery, I suppose. No, make that the company, right? See...
I wished for a more interesting life. And look where it got me.
Six out of 10.
Saltspire thing. Your pistols will work better with warpstone than gunpowder. Let Pusfume take a look.
I'll kill you myself if you make a sound.
You shoot well, elf thing. Could improve firepower though, yes?
Oh, Carillion as an admirer!
Stop it! Stop it!
Watch out! Storm bandit! There you are, Patrick!
You'll know me by the trail of flame. Did someone bring a lamp?
We planting eyes. Pusfume eyes superior.
Go annoy someone else. See, what I don't get, amongst other things, why Nurgle's followers think he's jolly. I mean, he's fat, but fat and jolly don't always go together.
No care for dumb rotten god. And discussion now.
Well, that's rude.
Look at all this death. Oh, bad day.
Wasteful rat things, leaving food around. Oh, did we take eat break?
Should have seen that one coming.
Shut up, Marcus.
Keep fighting, we've got this!
Storm fiend cotton wolves! Shoot the rat on its back! Yes, yes!
Yeah. Keep your distance, foul creature.
Brilliant. Saltspire's gonna kill me.
Smell musk of gratitude, soldier thing.
No one say a word. Not one word.
Oh, hands off, too hot!
I hope we're not to destroy another bell.
Worry not, man things. Costume came prepared. Earplugs in both ears I have had. Will not be influenced.
Huh. That's a big hole.
What? You scared of jumping in that hole? Man-thing know nothing of holes. Molder digs bigger and
And you've lost my interest.
Let's get this over with. Down there. Hands off! Those are my coins!
Firewitch knows not how important those are. Pussfume will use them more wisely.
Interesting. You're wrong, of course.
This is no ordinary tome. It feasts on my vigor.
Give to me then. Yes? Pussfume will handle with great care.
You're all truly wonderful.
So a little bit of the communication in the Discord there, just a little bit. All right, so in a second we are going to get Yanfan in here. Alrighty, hello. Can you hear me? Hi, long time no see. Welcome back. So, so we've had you on the stream before, but for those who might just be putting, your voice to your name, could you briefly introduce yourself, who you are, what you're known for, and where you're from?
Vermintide animations, that's what I'm known for. I post most of my stuff on the subreddit and on my YouTube channel. I've been playing the game since 2019. I've been active in the community mostly since 2020. And what can I say? I've read my first Warhammer Fantasy book back in elementary school. It was Runefang. So me coming across Vermintide 2 basically a decade later, it was bound to happen.
So, Pussfume, when you released it, the subreddit blew up. There are still people in the official Vermintide Discord putting in suggestions. Pussfume playable character when? It's still people are still typing that. So how did this project and collaboration come about? Like, what made you decide to do this?
Well, it all started on one fateful day. It was basically morning, beginning of the day. I was sitting on my bed listening to music, and I've been deep in thought. There are a lot of lore buffs in the community, always thinking about which characters Martin or Kruber would kill on sight, shutting down many interesting suggestions for characters from different factions. Another thought came by. Versus mode hasn't come out yet. And that's when it clicked. So I sat down, took out my pencil and paper, and started gathering ideas for a Skaven playable character that is as lore-friendly as possible. And as I worked and worked on it, I wasn't especially an expert in Warhammer Fantasy at all, So I read a lot on the wiki about Skaven, about the entire world of Warhammer Fantasy. I had to take a lot of stuff into consideration. Posfew must be weaker than a regular Skaven because they are super agile, faster than a normal human. So I give him a mechanical leg. A prosthetic? Well, that means he should be a tinkerer, and so on and so forth. And so, on day one, I made a sketch. On day one, I made a model. Yeah, work fast. And with the character concept done, I had to find a voice actor. But this time, I couldn't depend on the sound files from the game. I had to work with someone else. And John Gregg actually contacted me many months ago, advertising his voice acting demo to me. He was very eager to offer his voice acting service to me, and yeah, he was very cooperative, considerate, and most of all, we had a lot of fun working on Pascal. I remember these times very, very fond.
So we're looking at a bit of the making of right now on stream, but what kind of work goes into creating a character like this, especially a new character to put into the game where he doesn't exist, and you kind of have these defined boundaries of will he mesh well or will he interact well with the rest of the Uber Strike 5?
Well, first things first, a new character must follow the laws of the game. So, for example, we have to, of course, abide by the limitations of the BitSquid engine, the things that are possible in the game. But the best idea is to mostly stick to things that are already existing in the game. For example, if you want to add a new ability to the game, you should maybe base it off on something that already exists, for example, Beastman's banner or etc. And when it comes to these boundaries, the laws, only the devs and the modders dictate what can be possible in the game's engine. For example, Outcast Engineer, in his talent tree, some of the talents actually change the visual look of his minigun, crank gun, sorry. And only then did I think about, oh yeah, I could implement that to my character Bastion too. Most of all, though, it's about the small details. The jank of the Bitswitch engine, the looping of the animations, all the little stuff like that. They all add up to make a believable, playable Skaven character. And of course, on the gameplay level, how it interacts with the traits, with the other characters, what combination would be too OP, etc., etc.
So Jan Fana asks, Gullius asks, yeah. Gullius asks you, did Sienna's voice line about the three-legged goblin inspire the metal leg design?
Oh, this one is interesting. Actually, the metal leg design came first. Only when I was making the animated trailer, I was like 2 weeks in, I found this voice line and I was like, holy shit, it's perfect! So I took it.
So what did you find most challenging about this project, and what did you find the most rewarding?
The most challenging thing about making a project like this, or at least one that's trying to be ambitious, is about making sure that it's something that I myself find believable or acceptable in quality. I put a lot of attention to small details that put a lot of effort into making the overall feeling, atmosphere of the project complete, but usually go by unnoticed. For example, in practice range, I took the time to asset rip a bird from the game so it can fly in the sky in the background for 2 seconds and never appear again. Or, for example, there is, of course, multiple Easter eggs. Did you know that in my Warrior Priest animated trailer, in one scene, the statue of Sigma is looking straight at Saltspire? That scene has not been noticed by anyone yet, which transitions smoothly into my next point, that the most satisfying thing about my projects is when people do notice these small details. For example, when they noticed that Kruber is carrying Bardin's shield in a sort of remorseful, avenging way. And besides noticing all the small details they put a lot of effort into, I also like when people criticize my work. every time the most exciting thing about making a project and releasing it on subreddit on YouTube is getting to hear what people have to say. And the same goes for Postfilm. Well, and a lot of things actually happened with Postfilm. On one hand, it's pretty humbling that people mistook it for being an actual mod, and on the other hand, it's a bit embarrassing. So while I have the opportunity, I would just like to once again say sorry for misleading anyone. It's not a mod; it's just a very convincing word.
So when you created Postfilm's model, how much of this is assets that you had to create from scratch?
Well, let me see. His eye is taken from a Globadier. His backpack is a bit of an ammo bag. The part I had to make by myself was the leg. From the thigh down, except for the plate that's from Stoneverm's armor, the entire leg had to be modeled from scratch and of course use the pre-existing textures in the game to fit the art style. That leg is the most unique thing about Postfilm.
All right, and you've been known, particularly when you're commenting on the Reddit of people are like, "What's this music? Where's this voice line?" So you're known for, being the king of finding like all this audio, piecing it together to create a really smooth, natural sounding experience. What generally goes behind your voice works, and how do you know which lines you're going to use from the game and which ones that the voice actor you're working with is going to use? Did you guys create that together?
Well, most of my decisions come from intuition, and that intuition is coming from experience. I've been interested in audio editing for as long as I was interested in animation. Getting to work with a top quality voice actor was a fun and new challenge for me, and I felt prepared for the job. First things first, I started off with the initial idea for what Postfilm was going to say, and then from my memory of just browsing all of the sound files, I remember which voice lines would just fit the bill. Sometimes I would even spend, for example, an additional half an hour just to find something that is just perfect for perfect response. Me and John Gregg, voice actor of Postfilm, worked together from the beginning to end. He would often, while I provided him with the script, he in turn recorded multiple takes of each line. He would experiment with the tone, the delivery, and I would offer criticism. However, that doesn't mean that John doesn't influence the project in a large way. No, he actually influenced it a lot when it came to selecting better voice lines from the game and from his own improv. We've had most fun when John improvised his voice lines. For example, there is that one scene in the video where Gruber goes, "Oh, that's a big hole." Normally, Postfilm was just going to say, "Plant bolted, digs deeper, longer holes, makes slaves to hard work." Well, John improvised a little, and he added the whole, "Ha, you're scared of jumping in that hole? Men think know nothing of holes." He's honestly amazing, John Gray. A ton of Postfilm's personality comes specifically from John, slowly as he worked with me over time, figuring out his voice, his personality, and honestly, while I did the writing and the general concept, he brought the character to life. And this communication between me as a client and John as a service provider was crucial to the success of the voice line work.
Were there any lines that you all had created that wound up not getting used in the end?
Actually, let me think. I remember that we definitely. What I think about it, I think all of the voice lines actually made it in. While we did try to cut some stuff, we eventually decided to use it all.
And what was your favorite part on working about this project? Because it's quite different than some of the other things you've done.
Well, yeah, the biggest part is, working with someone else. Generally, these projects, I work solo, I do all of the work myself. The only things I would do before is just ask people for their second opinions, doing test screenings of test audiences, which consists of only one person at a time, big audience. So with this project, the most interesting part was just getting to talk with a lot of people at once, interacting with John, waiting for his feedback, for his output, and I also met a lot of new people when I was working on Posthume. For example, I met two people who are my fans on YouTube, Natagora, who helped me record at least 2 scenes in the gameplay video. One where Posthume is killed, and well, both scenes where Posthume is killed. And another person is Brihai, who also does Blender renders on the subreddit. He posts them. His latest one was breaking news. Ratman don't worship cheese. We are in touch with one another. We share notes, and getting to share those notes, getting to talk with another person while working on a project like this, that was the best part of it all.
So I'm just taking some questions from the chat here. Someone said, "Can't wait for Posthume's other careers." what kind of, if he was integrated in the game, what kind of future would you see for him?
When it comes to his future, I definitely had a lot of people asking me this question already, so I already have an answer for this. Yeah. Generally, the idea is to just make Posthume a full-on fan service versus mode replacement career. So he would either have someone like a Stormvermin, a Gatorana, a Globadia, a mix of one or another, to specialize in things that people would like to play as that already exist in the game. If we want original ideas for a Skaven career, ask Natagora. A couple of weeks ago, he made his own Skaven character that's called Shelf. He posted the post on the subreddit. He made the entire career tree, all of the abilities. He puts a lot of effort into that. So I recommend also checking his stuff too.
So the reception to this Posthume and the character and the creation was deservedly very, very good. How do you and your collaborator feel about this?
Well, generally my videos get to stay in the spotlight for a day on the homepage and then disappear. I was used to it, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of the nature of Reddit, but it's still kind of, I would say Posthume's legacy still lives, considering people still talk about it. So.
True. So we still have time, right?
We do.
Okay, so when I was scrolling Vermintide a day later, and I saw that heart locket, and I clicked on that GIF thinking nothing of it, only to see Posthume inside, my jaw dropped. I was sure that Posthume would be dead in a matter of a day, but holy shit, people kept making fun out of him. Whoa. I did not realize how much of a reach this character had. And when it comes to John Gregg, the voice actor, I asked him personally about this a couple hours ago, and he responded to me. He said that it was scary. He was extremely worried about the reception, as I'm sure anyone would be. It was his first big project, after all. There was a lot of critiques and tweaks to be made, mostly constructive criticism. For example, a lot of people couldn't believe that Posthume didn't sound like, your typical Skaven beast from Total War 2, or from the game itself, like Scarrick or other characters. He learned a lot from this experience, and it pushed him to develop more characters and refine Posthume's voice and his other voice acting works. For example, he has his own circle of friends, and they occasionally ask him to say a quote in Posthume's voice. So the voice is just a part of him now. It's a big success. So he's very grateful for being even a small piece in this project.
It's as Shad says, lots of passion went into it, and it's very impressive. I was just like, wow, this was a project. This is impressive. And I remember, what was the first thing you shared to the Reddit? Was it the versus mode mock-up that you did, or was it the Carillion video? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was the Carillion video.
I remember seeing that, and I was just like, wow, this person has some dedication.
Yeah, and now to me it's just Tuesday.
I really admire the dedication and passion, art, and work you've put into this, and I think a lot of us can speak for that. And even the chat, people are like, "I love his work." So we have, I would say, maybe 5 minutes. Is there any questions that the chat wants to ask you?
Yeah, go on, people, go on.
See if they ask anything. So if you had to design another character, what would you do differently, learning, knowing what you do now and creating something that, doesn't exist in game yet?
Well, I would definitely have someone to get a second opinion of. I would immediately have someone to talk about the project, get his second opinion, especially someone who's more experienced in the craft of making a skill tree, making the abilities. And of course, I would also discuss be more open about the production process. For example, I've learned a lot of good stuff. I read Skaven Slayer after Posthum was posted, and I would definitely change a lot of things, having learned more about how a professional writer writes Skaven. So the feedback from the community is important, and if I could, I would be more transparent about my process in the future.
All right, and finally, is there anything that you're working on now before we show it? Is there any commentary that you want to talk about on what we're about to reveal?
Well, that project, I was working on it since Tuesday. I've been trying to do at least 3 careers per day. On the day before the stream, I did 6 to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, I think people are going to enjoy it.
And what kind of, to give some context, what kind of kicked this off in your brain to create something like this?
The truth is that I needed to freshen up, to get a bit engaged again in animation after I started my second year of university. So it was a simple project, short animations for everyone, for every career, I can say. And I'll just say that I wanted to do some fan service for everyone. So everyone can contribute, everyone can enjoy the video and get a little laugh. Everyone from the community.
Okay. All right. You ready? We're going to go into it.
Let's go.
All righty. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you being back.
Thank you as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yes! I hate this! It is revolting!
More?
Please.
Always nice to be home. Sort of.
Alrighty. the pyro. I've been a pyro main for for a while. On the old thing and then getting assassinated right after this resonates with me. It's good. It's good. Alrighty. So I'm going to get our guests back in here, we are going to reveal the winners of the Ungat cosplay contest and start wrapping it up. We are running a little bit early, surprisingly, which is very rare for a Fight the Tide stream. So before I begin with that, I do want to show the prize that is at stake for the winners. So the runners-up will be winning a Vermintide 2 Ultimate Edition key code for PC, and the winner will be winning a 3D printed sword and dagger set by Graham 3D, down here, and he modeled this himself. And this will be printed and sent to the winner. Oh, that was the dagger, and this is the sword. And without further ado, let us announce the winners. Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
Alrighty, are you ready to announce some winners?
Yay! Now we're ready.
No worries.
Alrighty, so starting with the runner-up, who do we have?
After much deliberation.
And should we say like an what's it called? Motivation. What's it called?
Motivation.
Motivation.
What?
Wait, I totally prepared this. For extensive use of and a really good overall
Presence.
Okay,
I'm saying words right now.
the winner is Burble Spew. Oh, not the winner, the runner-up. Yay!
Winner of the runner-up.
The winner of the runner-up is Burble Hagel Skirtle.
Burble Spew.
Yeah, there he is. So what made you all kind of decide to choose this one for runner-up? What stood out to you?
I think like as we were talking about, like this could have been an actual like legit cosplay if we just tweaked some of the pieces of it, and the overall concept was so
Adds a paint job, like dirty some stuff up.
and
it would actually work.
You could also tell like immediately who it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite part of this cosplay? What did they use that you were like, that's clever?
I really like this, what's called the strainer thing on the face.
I like the Naruto manga.
Yeah.
No, but like it was such a good concept. Like everyone immediately saw who it was. So Burble Splurble.
Burble Splurber. Yes, Burble Splurber Helgenberger. Yes. It's not even hard name, Burble Spew.
Splurble, Hurgle, Skirtle. I'm Swedish. Basically a Swedish name.
Yes, yes it is.
And for the winner,
Should we motivate first?
do we really need a motivation for this?
No, it was amazing.
I think we don't need. We don't need
There was decapitation, there was dismemberment.
It was amazing. So the winner is
The big ogre. The tiny legs.
Because we both broke down laughing.
Yes.
It's fine.
All three of us.
all of us, and
The little legs, if like the silhouette with
Yeah.
the arms, it was perfect.
so when I realized it was actually Peppa.
Really
I mean,
clever, yeah.
I work as a kindergarten teacher, and I've seen my share of Peppa, and this was my favorite iteration so far.
The Pepper Pig just destroys
It really makes me want the Peppa Pig mod for
Yes.
Vermintide.
I mean, that
Yes,
if you dig into the workshop, that might be possible.
Switch all the voice lines for Peppa Pig line.
Yes. But overall, all the entries were so good, and we hope all of you, we hope all of you get into more cosplay, and because the world needs more Vermintide cosplayers.
All right, so that is going to be the end of our stream. Do you have anything you all want to share? This is actually It wasn't planned this way, but it is actually the 6th anniversary of Vermintide today.
Yay!
I guess
Then I
we
want
didn't
to
ask
add-
you what it was like to do the launch party. We didn't ask you that. I skipped right over it.
Oh, it was amazing. We were there before the party started. We were there like 4 or 5 hours just to get ready, and we had been working for these costumes for so long, and we were super nervous.
Yeah. and warm.
Yeah, because like normally when you do cosplay, it's like, nah, it doesn't matter if I skip this detail or if I do this differently, because no one else knows the character as good as I do. But when you do it, the designers who made the characters most certainly do.
I mean, I missed one screw on this one, and he was like, "Oh, you missed one."
Yeah. So it was scary, but when we rode down an elevator and when they opened and all the people were there, it was the best feeling ever, and everyone was so happy and supportive, and it was just amazing.
Just to see everyone so like relieved and happy that what they've been working on for so long, like actually succeeded. Like Vermintide was so popular, like that it was. That was amazing. And then you just see everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's Kerillian and Saltzpyre."
But I remember one comment, because we hadn't had any time to play the game because it wasn't released, and we didn't know anything about the characters except for how they looked.
Yeah.
We didn't know how they sounded, how they moved, what they did, and just the appearance and their names. So when one of the devs walked up to me and said, "Can you do the accent?" And I was like,
What does an elf sound like?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Swedish accent. No.
Yeah, so when we actually got to play the game, I was like, oh.
Did they like sound what you thought they would sound like in your head, or was it like completely different?
Saltzpyre did.
Yeah, Salisbury did, but Kerillian, I wasn't prepared for the accent, even though I should have been. but I mean, then I started playing and Sienna spoke, and I was like, oh, friendship with Kerillian. Oh. Yeah, but it was all amazing, and all the Fat Shark people are so great, and it was amazing to get to actually do a Vermintide group with all the characters except Bardin.
Still a full group, you know.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Nobody knew who we were, but we knew, and it was amazing.
All right. So I'm gonna ask one more question. If you could cosplay any class now that you've played the game, obviously, which class would it be? Since now you have all these different costume choices.
Kind of really want to do the Zealot, actually.
Yeah, and like I would love.
Would you
to
shave
do
your
the-
head for it?
No, I make a
Yes.
ball cap.
I'm not making a ball. We're shaving his head.
No.
Yes.
I've shaved my eyebrows once. No,
Never again.
never again.
I really want to do it.
They were on my passport.
No, but like any Sienna, really. I made her a Vermintide one, and I would love to make some of her new outfits. I would love to make the Unchained.
Yeah.
It's a big project, but it would be so cool.
And I want to make Pigmar.
Yeah. So there are so many cool costumes, like all of them. I love all of them.
And also, I really want to make a Skaven.
Yeah.
It's like a special. Maybe a God Runner.
Maybe we could make like a rat ogre, like a life size with Peppa Pig, and we.
It's really grown up. Lovely.
Because I would love to see that.
That'll be horrifying.
Please,
Absolutely
Make the
splendid.
costume real. Make it for real, please.
Lego Kilmanting.
Now there's more than two Vermintide cosplayers. Originally it was just you two, and that was it for a long time.
Yeah.
You and your group.
Yep. It's I mean, every time I see something Vermintide related, I was like, oh my god, yes. Can I? Is there anything I can do to help you? I have these references. Do you want them?
I heard you like Vermintide.
Yes.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
It's really is the fact that either someone like I have no idea what this is, or it's like, oh my god, it's Vermintide. There's no in between. It's just those two.
Alrighty, so thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you kind of spending some time. I know it's a little bit late for you guys, but
That's fine.
thank you so much. Good luck on all your cosplay adventures. And before you guys sign off, where can people find you? Shout out your socials.
I can be found at Mitternachti at Instagram or Mitternacht Cosplay.
I can be found at RakeMakes on Instagram or basically everywhere, and together, powers combined, we're MitterMakes on. I'm gonna interlock, otherwise it doesn't count. MitterMakes on Instagram.
But
And-
basically, just search for Vermintide cosplayers and we'll be there somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. And I
You
will
too.
follow you guys on Instagram, so hopefully I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yay!
Take it easy. I have a trinket.
Let's Patrick, bring back the visible fish.
Bye. Alrighty. So, with that out of the way, that is the conclusion to our stream. I hope you all enjoyed this little short stream. And again, we are a little bit early, which is unusual. But I hope you all had fun. I hope you all have a great and safe Halloween. Or I am going to totally butcher this pronunciation. Gehennesnacht. Whichever you prefer to celebrate. And we'll see you all next time for the Vermintide Charity Tournament in December. Take it easy, guys.
Take them from sight! Now! Before they see! Spits around the clothes! What's this? What is that? Not afraid. Writhing